Good morning, everybody. Okay. Can you all hear me?
Good morning. Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, so we're on 83A, two lines from the top. We'll back up a little bit to Rabbi Shia bar Abba. So we're talking about the shua that the Mishnah says that in cases where you're keeping something for someone, you moved it and it broke accidentally. So you have to take a shua that you're not negligent, you hadn't been negligent, and then you can then you're off the hook. Rabbi Shia bar Abba, I'm going to be up. Shua is the kind of. This is actually, this isn't really a classic shua. Um, but it's a takana. It's the rabbis instituted it. Okay, because if you didn't take a shua, nobody would accept this job, right? You'd always be afraid that if it breaks accidentally, then I'm going to have to take a shua. Then I'm going to be responsible. So the rabbi said, no, it's okay. We can get you off the hook if you take the shua. So what is the shua that you take? I'm a rabbi. Make the shua that I broke it, but it was unintentional. Okay, that seems reasonable. Bas Rabbi Yehuda Meimer, then the Isi ben Yehuda, and the Mishnah says, Shomer Pina Mishava, no Safar Yishal. Rabbi Yehuda says, no, the shul can only be taken by Shomer Pina because he has left liability. A Shomer Safar doesn't get off the hook this way. So presumably, people will take that job if they get paid, even though they have to accept more liability. Um, so Shomer Safar, no Safar Yishal, I could do it, I could do it. So each type of Shomer follows his the rules for that shomer. The also Rabbi Lezer and then in the Mishnah, Rabbi Lezer said in Gemara, correct there, yes, this is the rule. We do have him take the shua. So it's unclear to me that both of them should take a shua, right? Like presumably he means I understand the Shomer takes a shua, but I don't understand why the Shomer takes a shua. Yeah, Vishlama Shomer Pina, Mishaba, Shlopashaba. Yeah, that's exactly what I just said. The Shomer Pina, I understand, makes sense to me that he takes a shua. The rule is he takes a shua because Shlopashaba, he makes a shua that he was not negligent, and then he's off the hook. And the Shomer Sachar, my Mishaba, why should the Shomer Sachar make a shua? Kilo Basha, Nami Bashluma. Even if he wasn't negligent, he's still responsible because he's responsible for the case of Nigma Aval Shomer Pina Name. And you know what? It's not so clear about the Shomer why you should take a shua. Hatinach Makomidra. I understand where he takes a shua if it was a slopey place, right? A bumpy road, right? So then, okay, he tripped on the bumpy road. That wasn't his fault, right? He takes a shua that he was being careful and tripped anyway, then he's off the hook. But what if he's on a flat path? He must be Shamash Pasha. Like he trips on a flat path. What kind of klutz is that, right? He's still responsible, even if he takes a shua, right? Because that is within his responsibility. And even in the bumpy path. Hatina Heichad like a riot. That's when there were no bystanders to be witnesses. Heichadik Raya and they say Raya If there were bystanders, then let him bring a witness that he looked like he was being careful and it happened anyway. Titania, as we have in the Brisa, where Ein Rawa, if there's no one who sees, who has a Shem, Tiabein Shnam. Hayesh Rawa, Tiabein Raya If there's nobody around, then Shuas Hashem Tiabein then you take a shua. Yesh Rawa, but if there is someone around, there are witnesses, then don't go with the shua, go with the witnesses and see what they say. Now we have some cases here. There was a guy who was moving a barrel of wine in the marketplace of Machosa, the Tavra of the Ziza de Machosa. And there was like some kind of beam sticking out of the wall, and he bumped into it and it broke the barrel. Also comes to Rava. Amalei, like, what are you coming to me for? Bring witnesses. It's the marketplace. It's full of people. Surely there's someone who could tell us if you were being careful or not. Is it like your IV? Go bring a witness and you'll be off the hook. Only Rav Yosef Ray, come on, Kiisi. Rav Yosef, his son, asked him, so does this mean you're ruling like Isi ben Yehuda, who said exactly that. I'm like, Isi is free. I say, yes, that's like Isi. I hold like Isi ben Yehuda. And so if there are witnesses, then there's no shua. They should bring a witness. I mean, it seems pretty obvious, right? Uh, and one could ask, like, what if you can't find the witnesses? Well, maybe that, you know, uh, maybe that's that's considered like no witnesses. No, it's not clear. Um, Algaver, another case, person, the Amar Chabre, he asked his friend, Zil Zvigli Arba Mea Dani Dacham, go buy me 400 barrels of wine. Big consignment. Azal Zvanle, and he gave him money and went and bought it. So if Asal, right? Amalei, Zavino Arba Mea Dani Chamra, which he flew. He says, you know what? I spent all that money, gave me $1 million, I bought 400 barrels of wine, and with Chikifu, who they became strong. I'm not sure if this means that someone attacked me and stole them, or they became strong, meaning they fermented, they went bad. So, but the wine's no good. Also, like how we do Rava, so they go to Rava, who's responsible? I'm like, Abamea Dane, Kamra Tikife, Kala Isle. Um, if it's the case that that 400 barrels of wine went bad, that's going to make the news, right? People would know about this. So that's like Isle Raya. Zil, I say Raya, the Makara, King Zavnus, go bring proof witnesses that it was originally, good wine and it only went bad after you bought it. Beef time, then you'll be off the hook. So same Amalei Rav Yosef Gray, come on, Casey. Is this like Rav Yosef asked him, is this like, are you ruling like Casey? Is this the same kind of thing? Amalei, in Casey's ruling to us. Yes, it's like Casey, and I hold like him, and that's why this is considered the case where there should be witnesses. Now, this case is a little less clear to me because, yeah, sure, this is going to make the news, right? But where's the proof that the wine was good in the first place? Right? Maybe what makes the news is this guy bought 400 barrels of wine and they all went bad, but maybe they went bad earlier. But whatever, Kumar doesn't deal with that. Asking Rav Chia Bar Yosef B'Sichra, um, Rav Chia made a tafana, made a rule in Sichra. Hani Didaru Ba'agra, if you're carrying things on a pole and it breaks, in the Shalim part, you have to pay half. My time, why? Not Mishlachad Mizuter L'Trey, because like the pole that they use in this place, they're not such good quality, right? They're too much like it's too much for one person to carry. Um, and why are they using poles actually? Because it's too much for one person to carry, but it's not enough for two people to carry. Like two people could easily handle it. Um, so um, so they're taking it on the pole. So it's the appropriate thing to do. So carve lowness. So it's pretty accidental. The carve of Shia, uh, but it's also close to being negligent, right? So in other words, the standard way to do this would be to care for one person or two people to carry it, right? They decided they're going to use a pole because they're going to share the load and whatever, it's easier. So on the one hand, it seems appropriate. On the other hand, why didn't you just each carry it without a pole? So it's hard to rule, is this accidental or negligent? So we're going to have them pay. Um, the digla mishalim kula, but if you're carrying it with a digla, that's apparently some kind of a tool that's designed for a double load, then you pay the full thing, because by using a heavier pole, let's say, or a stronger pole, you indicate that you realize that this is too much of a load to be carried by a pole. And so if you carry by a pole and the pole it contributes somehow, pole breaks or whatever contributes to the damage, then that's your responsibility. Rabbi Barbar Chanan, Savarule Hanhu Shakolai, uh, 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 yeah, Tavrule Hanhu Shakolai, Avisa Dechama. Rabbi Barbar Chanan, he hired some people to carry his wine, and they broke it. The Shakolai, or the carrier, poured it, right? So Shakol Mayu. So he took their coats as collateral or payment for the responsibility for the damage. Also, Amr Rav, they went and complained to Rav. Amalei said, "How will he deny? Give him back his coat." Amalei, okay, what is that the rule? Do I have to give them their coats back? Like they damaged my wine. Um, Amalei, he answered, in Laman Telef B'derech Tovim. Um, this, maybe this isn't the strict letter of the law, but I'm asking you to be, upstanding, righteous, whatever. But you should walk, go in the way of good people. So, so he agreed. He gave him back the place. Amalei, Aniyanon, the Tachina Kuliyama. They said, you know what, we're poor. We worked all day for you. So fine, you gave us back our coat. The lace on me day, but we have nothing, you're not giving us our wages. Amalei, we have nothing to eat. Amalei, they'll have a grind. Rav said to him, go pay them. Amalei, okay, what? I have to pay them because they didn't even finish the job, right? Amalei, in the Archos Sadiq Tishmar, the end of that pasuk is keep the paths of the righteous. So I think he's telling him here to act with Mishur Sadin, to be generous with the workers, even if it's not really his responsibility. This is the end of the parak, and then we'll start the new parak.
Sure. At the end of the Spike Lee movie, Do the Right Thing, there is a similar incident.
At the end of what, sir?
Do the Right Thing, the Spike Lee movie from about 30 years ago,
Okay.
where someone who has caused damage to his employer gets paid anyway.
They got it from the smart. Asocher Sapoli, you hire workers. And you say you reach a deal. You say they'll hire you for $100 a day, and then they accept the job, and then you say I want you to come early or to stay late. So Malcolm Shanagu Shalawashku Shalahari. If that's not the local custom, and you're trying to cover, you can't force them. Malcolm Shanagu. Yeah, okay. So it depends on the local custom. Malcolm Shanagu Lazun. Yazun. If the standard of the place, the custom of the local custom is that you have to provide lunch, you should provide lunch. The sapek the sika yisapek. And if the custom is, give them candies or coffee break, let's say, then you should do it. Everything goes by the local custom. Masi Rabbi Yochanan ben Masya Shamar Ligno Tzei Schalo Parlim. Rabbi Yochanan said to his son, "Go hire some workers." Halachu pasuk on the zoners, and he went and he hired them, and he said, "And I'm throwing in lunch," right? Ukeshabah Eitzalavi. When he came back to his father, and he told him, "I hired them, and I threw in lunch." Amar Beni, feeling to also consider Shlomo the Shato. No matter what kind of lavish spread you provide them, lo yatzal seidei you're still deficient. You haven't fulfilled your commitment to give them because Shehin B'nai Avram and Yaakov, they're princes, right? These are the Jewish people, right? You promise them lunch. You need to give them an infinitely good lunch, and there's no way you can give them a good enough lunch because we have such esteem for them. Ella Ad what should you do before they start to work? Say them all. Go and tell them. Oh, that lunch I told you, it's only going to be bread and beans. So in other words, like you're still giving them lunch, but before they start work, and presumably they still have the opportunity to withdraw, you're telling them this is the lunch that I provide. Here's the menu. Don't be silly. If the standard lunch is a tuna fish sandwich, then that's what you have to provide them. You don't have to provide them a carving table. It all goes by the local custom. So the word says, first of all, pshita. Like it's obvious, everything goes by the local custom. But you need a mission to tell you this, that you have to follow the local custom. You're paying them higher wages, right? Higher than the average wage, right? So you say, listen, come with me tomorrow. I know the standard wage is $100. I'm going to pay you $150. Okay, and then so adata Uh, so yeah, Mao Tema. So I would have thought Amar Lahu, Hadid Tafai Lahu, Ayuraiku, Adafin Kadin Mishak Isit. Then they comes to the work day, and the boss says, listen, I want you to come early. I know people start work here at 9 o'clock. I want you to start at 7 o'clock. Why do you think I'm paying extra? Right? Why do you think I'm paying higher wages? So you would think he could say that. Yeah. So the mission tells you, Malam, the Amirule, because the workers can say, well, you never said that. Hi, the toughest one, Adata. Hi, the toughest one. We know that you offered us a higher wage, but we assume Adata Davdinallah Avita Shapirta. We assume that you want, more productive work, right? That we should do a better job for you. That's why you're paying higher. You can't now come and say that the condition of the higher wages is specifically to cover it. That's not what we do. Irish language. When the worker, so I think the assumption here is that you work, let's say, from sunrise to sunset, right? So when it's time to go home, mishalo. So the going home transit time, that's on the worker's time. In other words, if the custom is to work till sunset, you work till sunset, and then you go home, and you get home when you get home. But Metzia, but in the morning, mishalo lines. If the workday starts at sunrise, so you don't have to get up at dawn so that you can be at the work site by sunrise. No, you get up at sunrise, you brush your teeth, you get dressed, and then you go. And whenever you get there, you get there. Shinamar. This is supported by a pasuk in Tehillim. And yeah, Tehillim. Tizrach Hashem Mashiach Seifun V'Yal Yirbatzun. When the sun rises, the nocturnal animals go to sleep and they come home. Yesel and the follow, the person goes out to his work, and works till evening. So it implies that at sunrise is when you go out to your work, when you leave your house. So the Gemara says, well, wait a minute, let's say hey hige. Why are you going with the pasuk? We just said everything goes by local custom. So go by local custom. When are you now bringing in a pasuk to lay down the law? Well, this is Be'ir Chadash. So we're talking about a new city. It doesn't have its own custom yet. So this is how you establish the custom. Is by going with what's recommended or what's referred to in Tehillim. Oh, sorry. But that's a Mehecha Kaktus. Of course, not happy yet. Like, so it's a new city. So where are the people coming from? They should bring the custom of wherever they came from to the new city. As is obvious, Benakotai, when when it's a bunch of when it's people come from different places. In other words, it wasn't all people from one place that went to found a new settlement. It was a bunch of people from different places with different customs that founded this new city. So that's why you need the pasuk to tell you how should you establish the new custom. Or you could say the Amalahu the Agrisu li kafal deraisa. If or you could say that they said, listen, I'm hiring you on Torah terms to work for me. So that implies that not like that the agreement was not like local custom. The agreement was specifically what the Gemara is calling here the Torah terms, which are determined by the pasuk that you hear. Rabbi Yossi said the following. My deceived Tashas Choshev V'Hilayla. So this is, you probably recognize these two because they're from Bar Kinafshi, which is Mishur Hilgal and Rosh Chodesh. But in that context, the Tehillim says, Tashas Choshev V'Hilayla. Darkness falls, or you should replace darkness, and it will be night. Both your most Yar. During the night is when the animals, roam around. Tashas Choshev V'Hilayla. And then you place darkness. No, sorry, that's the topic that we just quoted. Tasha Social placing the darkness so that it's night, Bel and that's referring to this world, Shadoma and Lila, which is we're in the dark about what's going on. Both your Moscow Yar, Elir and the night is when the wild animals roam. That refers to the Rishayim. Shadoma and Yar, that are like beasts in the fields, in the forest. When the sun comes up and you gather them in, you'll know some of your boxing and to the dwelling place they'll move. latzadikim miyasefer. The sun will come up. That's for the righteous. They will be gathered um, into Olam Haba. Rishayim legadam, and the Rishayim go to Gehenna. The Almios and Yirba. So Teosefer moves everyone to their place. The Almios and Yirba too, and they go to their dwelling places. And we'll call tzaddik shein lo madar lefi. Everybody has their place. Has a appropriate place in Olam Haba. Yetzi will follow. The pasuk continues. Man goes out to his work. Yetzi tzaddikim l'kabel star, meaning you're going out to get your reward for being a tzaddik in this world. Lavadosei al and for your work until the evening. The misha hishlim lavadosei al the person who fulfilled his work, as it were, in Olam Hazeh, as a tzaddik, he'll get his recompense in Olam Hazeh. Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Shimon, Ashkach lahu par hagvana v'tatafis ganabe. So Rabbi Elazar found this like police officer who was basically apprehending thieves. Amarle, how do you how can you arrest them? Like how does this work? Lav kechevasa misile, aren't they like wild animals? We just saw the Rishayim are compared to beasts. Are ikadiam, right? Or some say he had another verse to back himself up. A haiku from this pasuk, like Yerov the Mistar to Aryeh the Suko. He lies in wait in a hiding place like a lion in his den. Dilma. So anyway, the Russia is considered a beast. So how do you have the gall, the courage to arrest him? Dilma shakvat tzadike v'shavkas v'shiyeh. Maybe you're only successful in arresting the innocent, right? So Amalei, because they're not like wild beasts. So maybe the fact that you're able to arrest somebody indicates that he's really innocent. Amalei, my avid. Herman what am I supposed to do? I have a quota, right? I have to arrest people. I have to give out tickets. Amar, he says, Ta Agborach, I'll teach you how you can behave. We'll be Arba Shai Lechanus. Go to the cafe at the fourth hour in the morning. When you see people are drinking their coffee, I think it actually means wine, but whatever, modern metaphor. The common name, if people are like holding their drink and falling asleep and nodding off, Shali loving, ask about them. Each of a rabbanon who, if it's a yeshiva student who's falling asleep at 4 in the morning, at the fourth hour of the morning is like 11 a.m., right? So, sorry. So if the person is a yeshiva student, say, oh, you know why he's tired? Because he was up early learning Torah. Ipal, who, if the person is known to be a worker, a manual laborer, he was up early because he went to work. What's he doing in the cafe? I have no idea. But and if it's somebody who maybe he's a worker who works at night, so one second. If he's and if it's that he works at night and nobody could hear that he was working because the kind of work he did was radode radeh, apparently means some kind of drying out wires, whatever. It's a quiet kind of work, so nobody can tell if he's working or not. If that's this kind of work, then you can assume he was up late. Below, but if none of these things are true, then ganvahu v'tapsa. That's the person who's like, what's he doing tired in the morning? He was working all night as a thief. Ishtama milsa be'malka. So the authorities, the king, heard about this advice of Rabbi Elazar. Amr, and they said there, Karaina de Igrisa iu lahave parvanka. Let the messenger, the one who brought the letter, be the one who reads it. In other words, let him, he's got such bright ideas, make him the policeman, right? Give him the quota of people to arrest. Asiol Rabbi Elazar Bar Shimon, the Katafis Gambit. So they made him the guy who was responsible for arresting thieves. Asiol, and he went. He had to do it. Sorry. Shalach le Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha, Gometz in Yayin, and Lazi Atamoser Amashol Kenu Harida. Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha accused him of, like, what are you doing? You're handing over Jews to, apparently they were getting capital punishment, right? So you're handing over Jews to be killed. Like, what kind of job is that for a good Jewish boy? Shalach, like, so he answered, coaching in the holiday account. Listen, I can rationalize this, right? I'm like, I'm pruning the tree, right? I'm taking out the thorns from the bush, right? It's the wicked people that I'm handing over to the Lord. Shalach like it's custom. That's not your job. That's God's job. God, let the owner of the vineyard be the one to remove the thorns. But that's not your job to decide who gets to be killed. Yom Achad, Paglev Haukaves. One day, so what's he gonna do? I mean, he's clearly this is not he's not doing this by choice, but he felt he had to continue with the job. Um, One day he bumps into a wanderer, Karye Chovetz and Yai, and he also called him, and hey, there's Rabbi Lazar who's vinegar son of wine, right? No, he's also criticized. Amar. So he said, uh, So Amar midachasif kulei hi shmami no Rashiahu. You know what? This wanderer, he has such chutzpah to call me Rabbi Elazar ben Shimon Chametz ben Yain. He must be one of the bad guys too, and he arrests him. I will to pursue he has him arrested. After he calmed down, also he said, you know what, that was really rash of me. He goes to the jailhouse to try to bail him out. And he either didn't find him there or he couldn't do it. They wouldn't allow him to bail him out. Kariele, and he said about himself, Shomer Pivu, Shomer Mitzaros Nafsho, the one who watches his mouth and keeps trouble away from himself. Zakfua. What happened was that this guy was hung, he was executed and hung. Come to Tezakifa, the Kabachi. So Lazar stands underneath the gallows and he cried. Arulay, and so they said to him, Rabbi don't feel so bad. You know what? This really was a bad guy. You were right. He was so wicked that he and his son both raped an engaged woman on Yom Kippur. Like that's how wicked he was. So don't feel bad that he got executed. And yet, the other he put his hand on his stomach. Amar, he says, Sisu b'nei me'el. My innards can be happy. Sisu, be happy. I had no evidence. The innards are like his gut tells him, right? You would say in English, right? So my gut told me, and I was right. So about this guy, says I'm certain about. I was covered with him. Certainly, I'll be right about that. I am certain that my innards will not become wormy after my death. But even so, he still felt bad. Ashkiyuha sama dishinta. So what they do? They gave him some kind of sleeping medication, right? An anesthetic. By Lula Basin Shisha, they brought him to the marble house, to the surgical ward, and they cut open his stomach. And they took out, baskets of fat, mostly b'shimsha, and then they put it out in the sun, but that was in the summer months. And they didn't rot. Um, so, uh, so in other words, this was proof. Like since he blessed his guts and that they wouldn't rot, and they didn't rot, so this was supposed to settle his mind that he was really right. Kol Tarbanami was Siriach. But the Gemara says, well, that's not good proof because fat doesn't rot, like just pure fat doesn't rot in the sun. Gemara says, culture Masriya Shuraiki Sumke Masriya. That's if it's pure fat, but if it's got blood or flesh mixed into it, then it will rot. And Hacha Afal Isa Shuraiki Sumke, even though there was red stuff mixed into the fat and it should have rotted, well, Masriya, it didn't. So the end of the pasuk is, my flesh will also will dwell safely. Okay, I think we'll stop right here at the bottom of the hour.
Good
I have
Lord.
a question about this last sugi. From the language and the fact that there are a whole bunch of Persian words, and it's the Persian emperor was referred to as a king, but not the Roman emperor. This would seem to have not taken place in the land of Israel. But I always thought that Rabbi Elazar ben or Rabbi Shimon was an Israeli Tana.
So why are you assuming that that it was Persian? It was a Persian.
So there are a whole bunch of Persian words here. So let me go back.
Oh, I see.
Parhagavna is a Persian word for the police officer. Harmana is a Persian word for an edict of the king. Parvanka is a Persian word for messenger. Um, why would they be using Persian words when they're perfectly good Greek or Latin words?
You're speaking like a good academic. The yeshiva student would answer in me would answer. They were telling the story in Bavel, so so they used local terminology.
Oh, okay. All right. Yasher Koach.
All right, have a good day, everybody.
Thanks.
Oh, I'm almost. I didn't understand the guy. Garbled. I mean, garbled. Garbled.